I hate crashes. They're the worst, honestly. I wish they weren't part of the sport. But they are, unfortunately, and usually they're avoidable. And that includes this one, which isn't my footage. The racer who captured and sent me this wanted to stay anonymous. To be honest, I've been sitting on this footage for a long time. I've probably had this for close to a year. I was thinking about not even showing it because I don't really want to put this spotlight on a crash. But I think that buried underneath all of the road rash and the bruised egos, there is a lesson to be learned. And the first one for this anonymous rider starts right here. He's coming with some speed. I'm going to freeze the frame right there. And he has a choice. He can go left here. He's carrying more speed than the rider in front of him. So he's doesn't want to use the brakes. He can either go to the left or to the right. Now, the left isn't really an option. There isn't enough space. So he decides to swing off to the right. So far, so good. Now, as he's making his pass on the right, the road starts to bend to the left, and you want to stay on the inside, so he wants to stay to the left. You also don't want to touch your brakes. These are the basics of bike racing. I've talked about them on my channel a number of times. So like before, he's faced with another decision. There's this really high-risk line to the left through a gap that basically doesn't exist and is rapidly closing. Or he has to swing out wide, take an undeniably slower line, and probably have to squeeze some brakes on top of that. And this is where things go real south for him. He decides he wants to shoot this gap, and he puts his front wheel right in harm's way, and all it takes is 240 to drift a little bit to the left, and boom, that's it. He put himself in a position with really no escape plan. He had nowhere to go on the left because that rider in the black and red kit was in the way, and then he obviously had no place to go on the right because rider 240 was drifting to the left in anticipation for that left-hand turn. So this was like no surprise. I mean, when you're watching it in slow motion in a replay, hindsight's 2020. But basically the main takeaway is just don't put your front wheel in a really vulnerable position like that where you can get chopped and taken out really easily. And if you absolutely have to, like if it's a really critical moment in the race, I understand. I've been in this position, trust me. Just make sure that you have an escape plan. Like, for example, here's me at the Intelligentsia Cup a couple years back in Chicago. Now, I take this pretty high-risk line on the left, and as you can see, there was a chance of me getting squeezed, and I did. But I had this out. I can roll onto the grass and still be safe. So that's all. Short one today. Maybe a little bit morbid, but let me know what you guys think down below, and stay safe out there. Catch you the next one.